He is the president of Wealth Quarterback, LLC, a registered investment advisory firm located in New Jersey. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm or its representatives by securities regulators, nor is it an indication that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Investment advisory services may only be provided to clients in jurisdictions in which the firm and its representatives are appropriately registered or exempt from registration. You should not assume that any discussion or information contained in this broadcast serves as the receipt of or as a substitute for personalized investment advice from the advisor. Different types of investments involve varying degrees of risk, and there can be no assurance that the future performance of any specific investment strategy, or product, or any non-investment related content made reference to directly or indirectly in this broadcast will be profitable, equal any corresponding indicated historical performance level or levels, be suitable for your portfolio or individual situation, or prove successful. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Investment advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback, LLC. Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
Good morning, everybody. This is Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback, coming to you live, taking your calls on all matters financial at 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you have, no question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. So we are here live. You get to ask me any and every financial question you got. We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. This is live, uncensored, unscripted, shockingly raw. We're going to talk about a lot of things. On this hour of the Financial Quarterback, we're going to talk about baby boomers are hitting peak 65. What does it mean for retirement planning? And your spouse likely keeps 5 dirty little money secrets from you. And it's not 1970s, but stagflation is back in the picture. And anomalies and exceptions. There are very complicated IRA rules, and you could spiral further into an abyss of confusion. We're going to bring you some clarity on the new IRA rules, where up is down and left is right. Green means stop. Red means go. Throw your hands up in exasperation, and those in charge recognize the lunacy. So this is from Young Kim versus the Commissioner, U.S. Court of Appeals, 7th Circuit. So basically, what are we talking about? The IRA rules have gotten worse. If you have an IRA or retirement plan, you're a partner with Uncle Sam. And what does that mean? Well, many parts of the tax code are compromises, and all parts reflect the need for lines that can't be deduced from first principles. And the lines seem arbitrary. So why can't Roth IRA dollars be rolled, for example, into a company plan? Why do these anomalies exist? I have no idea. As Young Kim versus the Commissioner states, this makes no sense. So IRAhelp.com has an excellent research report called Anomalies and Exceptions. And the whole point here is you can't go it alone when planning with your IRA. You need a guide. You need the Financial Quarterback. That's why you listen every week. And we're going to talk about excess contributions, Roth conversions, and Roth after-tax dollars in the kind of under the heading of anomalies and exceptions. And then we're going to talk about all the funny things like dirty little secrets you keep from your spouse financially. I don't keep any little secrets from my spouse. For the past 2 years, economists have been worrying about the high inflation rates, but far less attention has been given to inflation's sibling, stagflation. We'll talk about that in a moment. But folks, I really want to hear from you. Give me a call now, 800-321-0710, 800-321-0710. We're taking your questions on all matters financial. We're also on YouTube, live on YouTube, so hit the subscribe button. Google YouTube Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, and subscribe for weekly updates. Now, there's something within IRAs called excess contributions. This is kind of funny. Earnings can stay after the deadline. To contribute to any IRA, a person or their spouse must have earned income, compensation. But too much income precludes one from contributing to a Roth IRA. Often, confusion about the rules or just plain negligence leads to an ineligible deposit, i.e. an excess contribution. But no worries, there are corrective steps in place to alleviate the problem. An excess contribution can be fixed with no penalty by October 15th, generally of the year after the year for which the contribution was made. If the fix is made prior to this deadline, the excess and any earnings, technically net income attributable, or what's called NIA, can be withdrawn penalty-free. The earnings will be taxable, but no special forms need to be filled. Here's the anomaly and a strange twist. If the excess contribution is corrected after October 15th, the net income attributable doesn't need to be withdrawn. There's a 6% penalty, though, on the excess, and that excess must be removed from the account, but any earnings can remain. This is true even if the IRA owner was totally ineligible to open the account in the first place. So with IRAs, Roths included, you don't want to have what's called an excess contribution. Now, then there's another anomaly when it comes to Roth conversions, inherited IRAs versus inherited 401ks. When a traditional IRA owner dies and the IRA is passed to a beneficiary, that beneficiary must maintain the account as an inherited IRA. The inherited account cannot then be converted to an inherited Roth IRA. An inherited IRA owner could take withdrawals from the inherited account and use that money to make annual contributions to their Roth, but no direct conversions are allowed. While inherited traditional IRAs cannot be converted to an inherited Roth IRA, employer plan designated beneficiaries can convert inherited 401ks like a traditional 401k to an inherited Roth IRA. Go figure. Maybe you didn't know that. You can do that. So if you inherited a 401k, it's kind of a little trick. Roth and after-tax dollars. No rollover from an IRA to a plan. Speaking of Roth IRA and plan assets, Roth and after-tax non-Roth money cannot be rolled in from an IRA to a work plan. Once those dollars hit an IRA, that is the end of the road. Only pre-tax money like 401k or IRA can be moved from IRA to work plan. Sometimes this is referred to as a reverse rollover. This is an exception to the pro rata rule and can be leveraged in cases where IRA owners are trying to separate their pre-tax IRA dollars from basis. Next up, we have Gail on when to take a Roth IRA. Go ahead, Gail. We're talking about all these crazy IRA rules. Go ahead. Go ahead, Gail. Okay. I don't hear her. Gail. Okay, maybe you guys can get that worked out. For the past 2 years, economists have been worried about inflation. We're going to talk about that. Now, speaking of Roth IRAs and plans, Roth and after-tax non-Roth money cannot be rolled from an IRA to a work plan, i.e. a 401k. Once those dollars hit an IRA, that is the end of the road. Only pre-tax monies can be moved from an IRA to a work plan. This is an exception to the pro rata rule and can be leveraged in cases where IRA owners are trying to separate their pre-tax IRA dollars from basis in order to complete a clean tax-free conversion. Basically, if you're looking at all these IRA rules, you need help. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674, and you get my free book, When You Schedule and Keep Your No Obligation Review. So give us a call now, 800-321-0710. Also get you on with me to ask a question. And we have operators standing by live to schedule your no obligation review. Now, there's about 500,000 barrels per day more than the prior annual record set in 2019. It's also more oil than any other country on the planet produces. The next closest nation, Saudi Arabia, produces about 10 million barrels per day, according to OPEC. Output cuts have reduced that recently to 9 million. According to CNN, stagflation is the combination of high inflation and a slowing economy. Historically low rates of unemployment compensate for some of the pain high levels of inflation bring. That's because businesses generally can only raise prices when people are earning enough to afford it. In contrast, when unemployment is high and people are cutting corners, businesses will have a tough time passing on higher prices to their customers, which keep inflation low. It's every central banker's worst nightmare when inflation isn't accompanied by economic growth, high inflation that is, because there's very little you can do to improve the situation. Hiking interest rates to get inflation under control when unemployment is rising could push unemployment even higher. Cutting interest rates to stimulate the economy produces more inflation. So what do you say? Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. Now, the 1970s and 80s saw prolonged bouts of stagflation. Now it's raising its ugly head again in several economies, including our own. A look back in history, and we saw this week. Inflation didn't go down as much as people expected. In fact, it ticked up a little bit. It's persistent. So we'll go to your calls after the break at 800-321-0710. This is Josh Chalinsky, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Chalinsky this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Chalinsky Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the financial quarterback and count on Josh Chalinsky to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Chalinsky.org. That's Jalinski.org. Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher. or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
We're back taking your calls at 800-321-0710. We're talking about a return to stagflation. Is your portfolio going to be okay if we have stagflation? Well, call us at 888-988-JOSH, and we'll go over options to combat inflation and score your top 5 holdings from a standpoint of risk, fees, and taxation. Call us now, 888-988-JOSH. Go ahead, Gail, you're on.
Hi. At what age do I have to start taking the minimum required distributions from the Roth IRA?
Depends on your age, but at the earliest, 73.
Okay, because I'm 71. I know the age had been raised.
Yes.
I'm 71 and a half, so I can wait until I'm actually 73 years old before I'm actually required to start taking it.
Correct.
Okay.
And then, I'll, when's my RMD? I think you're at 73. What year were you born?
51.
Yes, 73 for those born from 51 through 59. And 75 for those born 1960 or later. This from the National Society of Tax Professionals. But yeah, there's a lot of new rules with IRAs, IRA planning, and that's why you don't want to go it alone. Call us at 800-321-0710. And you'll get my free book when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. But it can be confusing, right? All these strange IRA rules.
Yes.
And they keep changing.
Yes. Do you have an office in New York City?
We do. We have office places to meet in New York, Long Island, New Jersey, Connecticut. Call us at 888-988-JOSH. We'll get somebody to meet with you, okay? Or you can do Zoom.
Thank you so much.
Or in person. Thank you so much for listening. Next up, we have Stephen. Go ahead. You're on with Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback.
Hey, Josh. Good morning. It's Ray Coat D, Stephen.
Hey, there he is.
Okay, so anyway, here's my question. My question is something that I've always felt with regard to the DRIP program. My feeling's always been that I'm happy if the stock price goes down just before the stock goes ex-dividend, so I'll get more stock when the dividends are issued. Is there a flaw in that reasoning?
It doesn't really matter. I think they've done studies on it, and that they've done studies like, do you sell before ex-dividend? Do you sell after? I think they've found that it's almost irrelevant. I don't exactly recall where I saw that. I think I did a segment on it in a show where they basically analyzed people who bought the stock ex-dividend, people who didn't, and they found that, let's say the drop in price compensates for the dividend, and then vice versa. From when I studied it, it was kind of irrelevant.
So I should obsess over something else instead of that. Okay,
Exactly.
No problem.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they've done so if you look at, I don't know, I'll have to pull some start. There's a fund that I know always has their dividend in December, and it kind of works the same way, right? So we'll call this the Acme Fund, and they produce a dividend every like December 8th or 9th, right? And it drops and then it goes back up. But if you smooth it out over like 10 years, it doesn't matter. Even if you look over, I'm looking over like a decade, it really doesn't matter. I think it might matter, week by week as you're tracking it, but it really, it doesn't influence the pricing. I think that's, why it drops is, people are kind of thinking they can exploit it. There's been also funds that have been created to exploit that. And I think that they're not even around anymore. So I don't think it's a strategy to obsess over, for sure.
Okay. Right. And can I ask you an unrelated question?
Sure.
About IRAs?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Somebody who can do either an IRA or a Roth at work, assuming there's no match, based on paying the taxes now and being done with it and Rothing it, would you advise in general not investing in an IRA and just go, a traditional IRA as opposed to a Roth? It's like, okay, pay the taxes and now you never have to worry about it.
If you're younger, if you have lower income, if you're in a lower income tax bracket. No, I know. I said if you're in a lower income bracket, if someone who's listening is younger, you could, and there's no match, you could make a case that putting money in the IRA may not be a wise move. You may want to do number one, a Roth. Max out the Roth. I just met with a 35-year-old yesterday. Good income, didn't have a house yet, was banking like $40,000 a year. And basically we said, hey, max out the Roth and max out your non-qualified brokerage. But everyone's slightly different. This is assuming there is no match at work. So you want to look at three things. Number one, establishing a high yield savings account for your emergency fund of 6 months. Number two, maxing out your Roth IRA. Number three, maxing out your non-qualified brokerage, which you could put $100,000 a year in a non-qualified brokerage. And yeah, there's a case to be made, like don't defer taxes if you're, in a certain bracket or less, for sure. And if you or any of our listeners are in that boat, call us 888-988-JOSH. We'll help you. Thank you, Stephen. Great call, as always.
Okay. We were in Staten Island last night.
Thank you. I hope you had fun. So, next up, we have Fred. When should my son get an IRA?
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for the call. Go ahead.
But before I say anything else, can I say that I listen to you all the time, and you're a fine human being.
Oh, thank you. And what Stephen
now,
was...
my question is this, Josh. Okay. When my son inherits my Roth, number one, how much time does he have to take it out? And number two, does he pay taxes?
Repeat that question one more time.
When my son inherits my Roth,
he pays zero taxes. No, doesn't pay taxes.
And how much time does he have to take it out?
Now, he could pay estate taxes if you're worth over a certain amount. He has to spend it over 10 years.
But no federal taxes. Great.
No federal or state income tax. Would have estate taxes if you're above the state tax threshold. But if you're not, there's nothing to worry about. So Roth can be a great vehicle to transfer to minors. And what Steve was talking about is we had some of our listeners at the Savannah Bananas last night having a blast in Staten Island. So the perks of being a client, we do some client appreciation things. So if you want to become a client, call us at 888-988-JOSH. We'd love to meet with you. Any other questions, Fred?
No, that's it, Josh. Great show and wonderful person. Believe me, you are.
Thank you, Fred. Next up, we got Gordon. On the future price of oil, which I talked a little about oil, in the other segment, basically like, hey, got all these headwinds of inflation. Oil's just another one. Next up, we have Gordon. Go ahead.
Yes, Josh. As perhaps a follow-up to your classic call on the price, where the price of gold was going, I was wondering if you had any thoughts about the price of how the price of oil will go in the foreseeable future.
I don't know. Probably will go up. It's quite amazing that oil was as low as, I don't know, negative bucks and $22 a barrel back in 2020, and now it's $80 a barrel. Also, you would have thought maybe the kind of the green energy push would have pushed oil prices down. In fact, it seems like it's gone up. I don't know. I mean, what I'm worried about more than oil is this bent to electronic vehicles and the pressure it's going to have on the grid. So, I mean, are we going to head for rolling blackouts like California? That's really what I'm worried about, because I don't think the grid can handle all of these electric cars. And then there's been talk about, okay, having like supercharging stations be as plentiful as gas stations. And that's great, but our grid can't handle it. I guess if we were all nuclear, we could, but we really can't handle it. So I think people may regret this kind of electric vehicle push. Price of oil, I mean, it's probably going to go back up. I don't see it. I kind of think it'll be like stagflation. It'll be persistently higher than maybe, and for longer than we can imagine, but there could be a decline. I'm not really able to speculate on the price of gas that much. So there's another question, and then we'll go back to you, Gordon. It says, correction you may wish to make regarding spending inherited Roth. You just said the son has to spend the Roth within 10 years. He doesn't have to spend it, just withdraw it. Spend is like you get from a check from an institution to a third party. It was ambiguous. I don't know. You have to spend it down. Now, whether you choose to invest it into something or to blow it, you have to empty the Roth. Maybe that's a better word. But I always appreciate points of clarification because these matters can be confusing. Any other questions, Gordon?
Well, just sort of a follow-up. How should one invest in order to take advantage? If you perceive there'll be a rise in the price of oil, what's the best way to invest to make some money out of this rise in oil?
I think there might be a greater rise in natural gas. I think that's an easier prediction. I mean, you could buy energy ETFs. You could buy oil and gas ETFs. You could buy ETFs that speculate on oil, although there's risks involved. If those stocks or oil goes down, some of them are based on various contracts. I mean, what's great about living today, by the way, is there's literally an exchange-traded fund, an ETF, for anything. That being said, I think the oil trade was a year or two ago. I don't think it really is now. What's his name has said, we got to get David Ranson back on. I think he says it'll be longer for higher. So that's kind of, but I really don't know. I'm trying to, rack my brain for an answer. But yeah, you could buy an ETF for oil, gas, natural gas. You could buy an ETF for robotics. You could buy an ETF for that buys only like big name gas companies. I mean, part of me could say, oh, it'll plummet because everybody will have an electric vehicle. I actually recommend everybody keep a gas vehicle. Just, if you have a 2011 or 2015 gas vehicle, and let's say you buy a new one and buy a new EV in 2023 or 2024, I wouldn't sell your gas or trade it in. I would keep it. It may be a commodity because the government down the road might say, okay, electronic vehicles have to stay off the road between this hour and this hour. And they have the power to lock it down. I mean, it's kind of scary, but I have a Tesla, so they can do weird things from Central Command. So thank you for the call, Gordon. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with your questions at 800-321-0710, 800-321-0710, and we're going to be on Twitter Spaces at Your Financial QB. Give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. This is Josh Chilinsky, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Chilinsky, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
We're back. This is Josh Chilinsky, the financial quarterback, taking your calls on all matters financial at 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you have, no question is a dumb one except the one that you do not ask. So we're giving you financial planning updates, economic updates. We are live taking your calls. Okay, another question via the email. Is there any way to open a transfer upon death account to a very young grandchild without asking parents for social security numbers? No, but why wouldn't you ask them? If you're transferring it to your grandkids or young child, they should really be benefited by that account. So a TOD account is a great little secret to avoid probate and avoid attorney's fees, and it's very easy to set up. We can help you do that at 888-988-JOSH. Also, if you call us at 888-888-988-5674, that's 888-988-JOSH. I'll give you my book when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. Next up, G.I. Jack, go ahead.
Hey, Josh, God bless you, your family, and your staff. G.I. Jersey Jack, back in Hackensack, just a fact check. I have some rapid-fire questions, and as usual, you'll answer brilliantly. Question one, if they follow through with these, nothing political, if they follow through with jamming Trump with the re-election bid, how will that affect the economy? Two, if they impeach Biden, how will it affect the economy and services? If Kamala Harris gets in, how will it affect the economy and services? And $13 billion for the illegal aliens that are going to affect services, how will that affect the New York economy? Because as goes New York, goes the rest of the country. And hopefully, some of that $13 billion will establish a city-run retirement home for American veterans in New York City. I doubt that is going to happen because there isn't one. And good news, here's some good news. Brooks Brothers is still around. They have a nice shop on Madison Avenue, and I suggest a lot of the wonderful things there are made in America and other free countries, not forced labor. I suggest we support Brooks Brothers and keep them in business. That's about it, Josh.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. I read something that by 2000, I don't know, was it 2100? By the year 2100, New York will be surpassed by Dallas, Fort Worth as the kind of major metropolitan area of the U.S. I would argue it'll happen in 2050, maybe even 2030. I think New York, as the economic capital of the world, is done. I mean, there are people moving to Florida. It's going to be, the Fort Lauderdale, Miami. I don't know who the heck wants to go to New York anymore. So my prediction there is, I love New York, but I think, it's like how London was the financial capital of the world for a while. And London's still very big, very relevant. Same thing with New York. It just won't be the hub. The hub might be Miami or Dallas or whatever it might be. So that's my take on New York. As it relates to Biden being impeached, I don't think it will happen. I don't think the Republicans have the kahunas to do it, but maybe I'm wrong. So I don't think it will have any effect on the economy at all. Even if he was impeached, I don't think Trump's impeachment had any impact on the overall stock market economy. Kamala Harris or Biden getting reelected, I think one of the reasons why we might have this stagflation is if we have 4 more years of Democratic rule. Not to be political, but I just think kind of like, it's almost like the Jimmy Carter era
Democratic ruin.
Take 2. As it relates to, Republicans, it depends. I mean, we had Republican in 2016. Nothing was done about the debt. Taxes were not really lowered, but the idea that President Trump was good for stocks buoyed stocks. So I think if Trump wins, probably the stock market will rally because of that. But no guarantees. I mean, who do you think? I mean, who would have thought that the stock market would be where it is? I remember people were predicting a Biden victory would crash stocks. And although stocks were crashed last year, they've rebounded. So I don't necessarily think stocks, there might be an initial sell-off or a rise due to a particular party. But I think the stock market bleeds green, not red or blue. And if you just look at recent memory, Obama was generally good for stocks. So was Trump. So it doesn't really, Biden, it's been kind of sluggish, but Bush was, George W. Bush, kind of sluggish towards the end of his term. From 2003 to 2007, it was good, but from 2000 to 2002, the market was bad. I don't generally, if you follow cycles, there's generally a 7 to 8 year market cycle. Markets tend to live or die by that. They don't seem to be that impacted by who's in the White House, but that's just kind of my take. Obviously, stuff matters. Tax policy matters. General confidence matters, but that could be, you could bring anecdotes proving one or the other. So I hope that helps you, Jack. Thank you for the call. Folks, give us a call, 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. If you have questions about stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever questions you have, no question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. So TOD accounts are a great way to leave money to the next generation. But unfortunately, the questioner said Social Security numbers. I think you have to put Social Security number on a TOD account. So we're live on Twitter Spaces, Clubhouse, iHeart Radio, also podcasts. We are going to be doing some new things with the podcast. Got some fantastic production things available. So, folks, if you want to subscribe to our podcast, just search for Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. This show is available as a podcast. To listen, search for the financial quarterback in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Stitcher, Google Play, Podbean. That's the financial quarterback. Listen, follow, and write a review. Next up, we're going to go to Jack, who has a question on Social Security theory. Go ahead, Jack. Final question. We got to get to other callers.
Good morning. It's more of a comment.
Oh, it's a different Jack. It's not G.I. Jack. It's Jack. Okay, go ahead, Jack.
No. I know who that guy is. 2 weeks ago, you had Professor Kutlikov on, and he was criticizing Social Security Administration for clawing back money that was sent either erroneously or illegally to people. And I think that's a good thing that they're on top of that. I don't understand how you could criticize the government for taking back 2 checks from an older woman who was getting them for a long period of time. I don't understand how you could believe that you could be getting 2 separate Social Security checks under different names.
I don't think that was the issue. I think the issue was they got the wrong number. So if you're an old widow and you're used to getting $1,500 a month, and then they say, okay, well, we erroneously gave you $1,500. You're really entitled to $1,200 because you took it a little early. You get penalized. I think that was the issue he was talking about. I don't think it was somebody. Yeah, I know. He mentioned anecdotes.
A woman that was using 2 different names and getting 2 different checks because she was the maiden name. And how could you believe that that's even legal in this day and age?
True, but I think we're dealing with people who are like 80. I think that the issue was it was an elderly woman who then they were clawing back like 10 or 20 years. I mean, I get your point. Like, you didn't know something was off for 10 years as you were getting 2 checks. Seems kind of fraudulent. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't agree with everything he says. He's a good guest. It's not, he comes on when we ask him. He brings commentary. A lot of he says, I sometimes disagree with. But yeah, I probably disagree with him. If somebody got a check, 2 separate checks to 2 different names, they probably should have self-reported, right? That's kind of your point.
Absolutely. It's common sense.
I thought it was a little bit more like nuance than that. That's all. I remember one woman came to meet us in Hackensack, which if you're near Hackensack, want to meet with us, call us 888-988-JOSH. And we found some error like that, and they clawed her back, and she owed like $100,000 back. I mean, it wasn't like you're saying where it was an obvious, like, dumb thing the government was doing. It was something like they were paying her as if, she was a widow taking her husband's, and they didn't like factor in that she took it early or there was a penalty. You know what I mean? It wasn't like what you're referring to. When I've seen errors, that's all. I've never seen an error. I mean, I meet with thousands of people over the years, and I've not seen any of that. Okay? So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We'd love to help you. If you have a Social Security issue on your own, give us a call. We got to take a break. Jack, if you want to hold on, we'll be back shortly.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinski this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the financial quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jalinsky.org. That's JALINSKI.org. Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jalinsky, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
We're back. This is Josh Jalinsky, the Financial Quarterback, taking your calls, All Matters Financial, at 800-321-0710, 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, whatever question you have, no question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. So we're taking your calls on All Matters Financial. We'd love to hear from you. Always. I love when callers call us. It is the greatest show when we talk live with you in your living room or as you're pulled over while driving. Make sure you pull over and call us. You know, who wants to battle traffic when you can listen to the Financial Quarterback? So calls now 800-321-0710. This is one of the only shows where a host goes live to answer financial questions. Most people will listen to a radio host, and you don't know the host has it scripted, has it edited to sound smart. So give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH. Next up, Michael, the state of gold stocks. Hello.
Yes. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Good to say hello to you.
Nice. So what's going on, Michael?
Yes, I'd like to just ask you, I check the market here and there, and every time I check the market, the gold stocks are either a little bit down or stabilized, or they don't move at all.
Yeah, you got the gold miners or like junior miners. What do you mean?
Just in general. I don't know. Can I give you a stock in general, a gold stock in general?
I mean, I'll look at gold miners have been sluggish. I mean, I can just look at a general ETF. And we're not recommending you buy or sell it. I mean,
yeah.
you could. I'm looking at GDX right now. It's been relatively flat since April 13 of 2020. It was $29. Now it's about $29. Now it had periods of going up to as high as 40, as low as 20. But you got to realize, investing in the miners is not the same as investing in the actual gold. So that would be my first kind of critique of what you're saying. Has the gold miner you're referencing been relatively flat? What symbol is it?
Well, the symbol is a GOLD.
Okay. Yeah, I got to. I'll have to look that up. It's probably flat for a couple years, right?
Barrick Gold.
Oh yeah, Barrick. Okay, I know Barrick. We're not recommending any stocks over the
No, I
airways,
know
though.
that. I understand that.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
it's almost been the same way as this mining company. I mean, you could look at that and say, hey, there might be a good deal there. But, you know, the problem is a lot of these people on newsletters push, gold miners. And I've noticed they tend to go up or down based on the recommendations in various newsletters that sound salacious and get you to pay money, and then you pay money and you don't really make anything. That's what I found.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
I much more rather like if someone wants gold in their portfolio, have 5 or 10% as a hedge, buy the actual gold or the gold ETF, things like that. I find the gold miners, I mean, now you could say there's value there because if we have stagflation, gold miners might remain high or at least hold its value a little better than other stocks. But I find I'm saying the last 10 years, they've really done nothing except go up or down, by a few bucks here or there. So I kind of agree with your sentiments.
Yeah.
Great.
Is there another question I could ask?
Sure, go ahead. And then we have John who wants to know about his teenage financial tips. So go ahead, Michael.
Yes. Also, there's the tech stocks. There's some new ones well, not new. For me, they're new. But I just looked into some tech stocks, and I find that seem to be doing okay. There's some growth. Can I give you one that I?
Yeah, no, I don't want to make this show a stock show. Because then things are referencing time. Although, you can reference category, big tech, AI. I think tech has gone up this year. Big tech, AI, majorly. Went down majorly last year. I think tech cannot be viewed as monolithic, right? Like if you think of streaming services, right? Like Disney has been battered. Now, I think some of that might be the woke politics and the wars against Ron DeSantis. Kind of Bud and Disney are proving that if you're getting involved in politics as a company, generally not a good idea to tick off half your customers. The other thing, but broader speaking, is like Netflix dominating streaming. All the other companies not dominating. And if I were Netflix, by the way, I would make deals with sporting events, kind of like what Amazon's doing, and kind of do an end around over the networks, get a deal with the NFL, sort of like what Amazon has. And I don't think like streaming services, for example, are a good investment anymore. But Netflix is a stock different than Disney is a stock with Disney Plus. Disney stock, not only did they tick off their customers, now they're raising the rates 30%. And so I probably kept my Disney Plus thing, and now I'm going to cancel it. It's like I had it for like a few shows my kids wanted to see. It's like, I'm like, oh, they reminded me that they were raising rates to cancel my subscription and just re-up it whenever I want to see the newest Star Wars streaming thing and then cancel it again. But that's what happens. Some show will get you to subscribe and then you forget. But, to me, I don't even watch much TV anymore. Watch like the MLB and, maybe NCAA when there's NCAA tourneys. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. John, you seem like a stock, Michael, you seem like a stock guy. If you want us to score your top 5 holdings from a standpoint of risk, fees, and taxation, call us, 888-988-JOSH. Next up, we have John, who's a question for his teenager. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Josh. How are you?
Wonderful. Go ahead.
So, hi, Josh.
Hi, go ahead. Hello?
Josh?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I had some phone issues. So my question is, I've got 3 teenage kids. They've each accumulated their own savings. They each have about $3,000 or $4,000 of their own money. And they want me to open up their own kind of stock trading account that they can, maybe experiment investing like $1,000 of their own money. And I'm not sure which kind of online trading account would be suitable for something like that?
Yeah, you could do you mean like a transferable on death account, or the type of app, or the type of account?
Yeah.
Number one, if
I guess the type of app. Like, what's a good? Can you recommend a good? I'm assuming like I don't even have my own trading account.
Well, we have. I mean, we can help.
IRA.
I mean, we can help them. We can set up Fidelity accounts, Schwab accounts, or Interactive Brokers accounts. If you call us at 888-988-JOSH, we're fee-based fiduciaries. So it'll be a good program. We love helping young people, and and we like kind of helping them and you on your journey. Number one. Number two, you could set up a Roth if they have wages. If they don't have wages, you set up a transferable on death account. You may not want to put it in their name if they're going to go for college, because that might hurt them for financial aid. But it depends. If you have so much money where you're not going to get financial aid anyway, then it doesn't really matter. But you want to be careful with whatever account you set up. That way it doesn't preclude them from getting financial aid. So you want to set up an online account for them. You want to do TOD or Roth, or an account that enables them to get financial aid. If you want to help, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We have...
Okay.
And thanks for the call. If you want to ask me more, just stay online. We'll be back after the break. Give me a call right now, folks, 888-988-JOSH, and get the free book, Retirement Reality Check, when you schedule your own retirement reality check. 888-988-JOSH.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York, an iHeart radio station.
Listen on the free iHeart Radio app for all your music, sports, talk, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good.
We hear you, New York.
The people are really, really hurting.
Loud and clear.
Here is how we change the world.
Always the voice of New York. 710 WOR.
An iHeart radio station.
It's 78 degrees and partly cloudy at 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jacqueline Carl. New Jersey Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver's funeral is being held today. Oliver was a trailblazer, the first black woman to become Assembly Speaker and the first to win statewide office as Lieutenant Governor. Her official state funeral started at 10 a.m. today at the Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart in Newark. And Hawaii officials say the death toll from the Lahaina wildfire is now up to 80. More bodies were found Friday as search teams combed through the rubble of the Maui resort town that was destroyed by a raging wildfire this week. The fire destroyed over 1,000 buildings, and the death toll is expected to rise as search teams with cadaver dogs continue to look for bodies. A 93-year-old woman is dead after a house fire late Friday afternoon in Queens, and officials think she may be the latest victim of a lithium-ion battery fire.
The flames broke out at 9801 101st Avenue in Ozone Park around 1:30. 93-year-old Cam May Koo was found unconscious in her second-floor apartment. She later died. A 67-year-old woman was hospitalized. She's in stable condition. Fire investigators found a charred e-bike on the sidewalk in front of the house. It belongs to the homeowner, the son of the woman who died. Andrew Whitman, WOR News.
And today marks the first of many of New York City's anti-rat days of action. Mayor Adams' first official war on rats call to action is taking place in Harlem, where Adams is arming people with the know-how and resources to keep rats out of their neighborhoods. Adams saying it takes all of us to win the war on rats, adding he wants New Yorkers to keep lids on trash containers and continue composting. The city plans to have more anti-rat days in the months to come. Officials say complaint calls about rats have gone down compared to this time last year. And a New York-based ice cream company is recalling some of the product because of possible listeria contamination. Real Kosher Ice Cream says they're recalling its soft-serve ice cream cups in 19 states and the District of Columbia. Officials say 2 people in New York and Pennsylvania fell ill after eating a soft-serve cup. The CDC says the bacteria can lead to an infection that causes roughly 260 deaths annually. In sports, the Yanks beat the Marlins 9-4. Mets were shut out by the Braves 7-0.
Here's your WOR Weather Channel forecast. Clouds will increase on this Saturday, and scattered showers and thunderstorms may pop up heading towards the afternoon. Some of the storms may result in gusty winds and hail. The high near 85. A few strong thunderstorms can't be ruled out tonight as well, with a low dropping to 73. A drier Sunday with sunshine and a high warming to 88. And then a mix of clouds and sun Monday with a high near 85. I'm meteorologist Jeff Marr.
Next news at 11, breaking news at once. Start your day with Len Berman and Michael Riedel in the morning, 6 to 10 a.m. I'm Jacqueline Carl on 710 WOR, an NBC News radio station.
Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
Okay, we're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, taking your calls on all matters financial. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH. We're here for you. And we get some nice emails from our listeners. I got one of my beloved listener friends. She's like an aunt, a younger aunt or a young mom to me. She says, I'm about to have my coffee with you. You're looking very dapper this morning. Oh, nice. Well, I think it's because I didn't really put any product in my hair on YouTube, so maybe she doesn't like gel. Now, she had no idea we were holding an event in Staten Island. We had a nice client event for our listeners. It's funny, I've been pushing we've had people, because we do listener appreciation events in New Jersey. I've been often had my New York people say, we'll do an event. And my events in New Jersey get packed, but my New York events was promoting on the radio. You know, people came, but it's not as much as you would think. So, wish you'd talk about the wind farms on our coast. I think they're horrible. Another dead whale on Long Island. Our commercial fishing industry on Long Island has been affected. Everywhere, Maine, New Jersey. Shellfish is taking a hit. Really wish they would stop this. I pray every night that they would change course. So, God help us all, she says. I think you're absolutely right, June. Save the baby whales. Alex is a youngin', a youngster. Am I old now that I call you young? I mean, I'm not that old. So, but just, did the younger generation, do you care about the whales that are dying off our coast because they're putting the wind farms? Or does it not really register? I mean, I'm not trying to say, do you care? You may care individually and be a very caring person. But I mean, do your friends talk about the whales dying off the coast, or is it not really an issue?
They don't really talk about it.
So they're asleep. Have you heard about that or not really? Is that something old farts talk about? Okay, so, but I mean, I'm much worried about it because, I mean, wind farms sound like a nice idea, but whales dying, that is enormous. Remember the circle of life? You know, whales dying off the coast is not a good thing. And this is going to be crazy too. We're not killing sharks anymore because of the circle of life, but we're killing whales. So you could have shark-infested waters. The whales, we need the whales to keep the sharks in check because the sharks are afraid of the whales. So like, God intended a beautiful circle of life. So across New Jersey, this is from March, 10 dead whales. And a lot of them are due to these wind farms. I don't really know You know, I'm not a whale expert. I don't like the eyesore that is the wind farm. I mean, maybe I'm selfish, but I don't like how whales are mysteriously dying. Of course, when you Google it, you don't really trust Google. I don't trust Google anymore, right? I always tell my kids this. Google is not the card catalog. Like back in the day, you'd go to the library, right? If you had a question on mammals or whales, you'd go to the library and you would research and you would look for secondary sources. Now you just Google. So I'm Googling whales dying. And the third thing is from The Verge. Whales are dying, but it's not because of wind farms. How do you know the person at Google isn't suppressing content? Now, we know they uplift certain content. I even heard, Apple, like when you do podcasts, it all depends on who's promoting the artwork or what they like. So it's not just like how many listeners you have. So we live in a very strange time. But hey, I'm getting to sound old. So back to the financial show. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, if you want the retirement reality check. Give you a free book. We have another listener email who is a question on tipping. So, hey, there's no dumb question. I always give a little extra 20% minimum up to 25. If a tip should be 16, I just leave them a $20 bill. Now, tipping for everything is confusing if put on a card. I use cash 99% of the time. But what is the tipping etiquette in 2023? I always give Uber cash tip, and they're so appreciative. Then I throw $1 in the app so it doesn't look like I don't tip. But my rating stays at a 4.8. I would on Uber, I would tip on your app. So that way you get a really good rating. Slip people a $50 bill for a job well done. Do people tip letter carriers or UPS anymore? I do it twice a year, $50 bill. It is so worth it. Well, God bless you. You don't tip me for doing a good radio show. I think tipping, tipping's nice, I think tipping's a little overboard. Like, for example, if you go in for coffee and the coffee's $8 at Starbucks, do you tip, Alex? Do you go to Starbucks?
I don't drink coffee.
Well, good. It's bad for your health anyway. So there you go. But I think if you're getting takeout or if you're like going up to a counter, you don't need to tip. But I often feel morally obligated to tip because of that darn tipping thing. And I'll give 15%, I'll give 10%. Tipping the pizza delivery guy makes sense. Tipping the waiter makes sense. Tipping your hairdresser or your barber makes sense. Tipping somebody who gives you an overpriced cup of coffee, I don't know. I think the boss should be paying them where they don't need tips if they're charging that much for coffee. That's me. But again, then we went to some local coffee joint and we knew the little girl and, young woman. And we tip because, she's a teacher and, we heard some story about, she does something for the summer and she uses those tips. And my wife's like, you got a tip. It's my friend. I'm like, okay. But generally, I don't see the need to tip in that case. What say you? Yeah, let's throw this open to our listeners. What is the appropriate amount to tip? Call us 888-988-800-321-0710. I want to know, am I cheap? Should you tip the person who's billing you for the $7 cup of coffee and they don't even know how to do it right? Next up, John, new Social Security developments. Go ahead.
Hi, Josh. Good morning.
Nothing like a family man. I appreciate you for all you say.
Thank you.
I was reading on online about a $2,400 a year increase to senior citizens for Social Security. That there's a bill that got passed or it's in there about to get passed, and another one about paying no taxes because we already paid taxes going in, and it's a double tax coming out, and they're trying to kill that. I wonder if you heard anything about that.
No, I've not heard about it. What is it exactly? I'll try to research it a little bit.
It's about seniors getting on Social Security getting a $2,400 a year, $200 a month raise, and
that's
to help
just
them
the
out
inflation.
because the cost of living for 2024 is only going. They're predicting it to be 2.7 to 3.0, and just not enough. And they want to give this increase, and then I'm reading about no taxes when you take it out, which would be an unbelievable thing for senior citizens. Me being 68, I'm waiting till 70 to take mine. I guess that would just go in if they pass that.
Well, the estimate is
until I'm
3%. From a national standpoint, I think 3%'s enough because we're broke anyway as a country. But I'm sure someone has a law, in Congress to see, it's called seniorsleague.org. Is that it? They want cost of living adjustments. Yeah, I mean, they have a white paper. I mean, I don't know who.
It would keep a lot of people staying on the East, in New York and New Jersey if they stopped the tax on
There's
the
something
Social
called the
Security.
Guaranteed 3% COLA Act, the Senior
Right.
Security Act. I mean, I'm more in favor of us not taxing Social
It's
Security.
the 2100 Act. That's what it was. The 2100 Act.
Yeah, there's a bunch of acts that are talked about. I don't know if they'll pass. I mean, I think our country's broke enough. I think it would probably be easier to get involved at the state level and try to push for no state income tax on Social Security. That I think's a way better thing. But the Social Security 2100 Act, I don't know if it's new bill would revamp COLA, expand the payroll tax. Oh, this is a horrible bill. The latest version of Representative John Larson's bill takes a new tack on calculating COLAs. It would extend Social Security solvency by 32 years. But what it would do, this is by Democrat John Larson, has revived a bill. It would increase payroll taxes to wages above $400,000. So it's a greater tax on job creators, small businesses. Yeah, I think this is horrible. So for example, not to be selfish here, but I would pay an extra $28,000 a year in tax to give you an extra $200 a month. I don't know. I think it's a horrible bill. Hurting small businesses. Yeah, it sounds nice. They're luring people with the promise of
more money,
$200 a month. But what it would do is apply a separate 12.4% tax on net investment income, which is, by the way, people are talking about stagflation. The reason we have stagflation is we are not encouraging growth in the economy. When you tax job creators, they flee, as we're seeing. Citadel in Chicago moved to Florida. A lot of companies moving to Florida. So what's that doing? That's hurting the revenue in New York. It's going to hurt seniors in New York.
They tax the rich to death. I know that.
And then the wealthier people move. The new bill brings investment income as well as wage income. It applies a separate 12.4% tax as defined in the Affordable Care Act. So if you liked Obamacare, it expands on the Obamacare tax. So now instead of wealthier people paying an extra 3.8% tax, they pay another 12.4% tax. So you could have a wealthy person sell like their Disney stock. They could pay, let's just do the math. I don't believe confiscatory taxation is right. So you take 12.4 plus 3.8. It's just like Obamacare. You know, no one wants to be uninsured, right? And no one wants other people to be uninsured. So that would amount to a 53.2% federal tax if you sold stock, and then a 23 point on dividends, 53.2% federal tax on dividends, 63.2% state and federal tax combined if you got a dividend, let's say, on Disney stock. Horrible idea.
Horrible. Nobody would invest.
So, yeah, this bill stinks. I knew it smelled rotten. Sorry.
Right.
And then...
Well, they throw the carrot out there for the senior citizens like myself as far as, like, you'll get extra money. But on the flip side, on page 2, somebody's getting hurt down the road.
With this bill is they're making it so that in 2024 they go, Congressman Smith voted against seniors getting an extra $200 a month. Shame on you, Congressman Smith. So, I mean, but again, it's always languaging, right? So the Affordable Care Act made healthcare less affordable. So this thing, the Social Security 2100 Act, a sacred trust, may give you an extra $200 a month, but it'll cost small business owners an extra $20,000 a year. So pretty crazy.
Okay.
And $28,000 a year if you're making around $400,000 a year. And you might say, well, that's a lot of money. Well, somebody making $400,000, they're already paying about a third of their money in federal tax, another 8 to 10% in state taxes. They're hiring people, so they're going to lay off an extra person or two. So it's not like, that person will find a way around, the new rules, and the little guy gets screwed when people have to be laid off because the big guy's getting taxed. So that's my take.
Right.
Social Security Act, bad idea. So
Thanks
for the call. And folks, give us a call during the break, 800-321-0710. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check. Tune in to the Financial Quarterback Josh Jelinski this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the Financial Quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org.
Let's give the seniors another $200 a month. Remember the fall of Rome? Bread and circuses. That's what I say. The Roman Republic, watching the history of Rome, and this is, by the way, did they teach you about the history of Rome yet in school? Very little. Alex? You know why? Because our United States is very similar to the Roman Empire's sort of a timeline. So I'll give you a little. Did you ever hear me talk about the Roman Empire or not much? No. So the Roman Empire can be divided into three distinct periods. The period of the kings from 625 to 510 BC. The Republican Rome, and you might say, what does this have to do with finance? I love linking Rome and the fall of Rome to the fall of the U.S. and the decline of the American empire. And the keys, if you might say, well, America is headed down a road of destruction that is irreversible. Well, realize that Rome was headed that way too. And Rome lasted for another 400 years after its decline. So, hey, maybe we got 300 years left as a country. But a lot of clues are in it to rebuild America. People like Jordan Peterson and others are talking about marriage, family, la familia, the Roman concept of family. So if one would look at a brief history of Rome, Rome founded in 625 BC. Then there's the period of the kings from 625 to 510 BC. Then there's the height of Rome, which we think of the height of Rome as Augustus Caesar around the birth of Christ, the Pax Romana. But the Pax Romana was sort of the beginning of the end of Rome because people lacked their freedom. It was sort of like the American Empire. Now, Rome entered, this is from the Milwaukee Public Museum. Rome entered its Republican period in 510 BC. No longer ruled by kings, Romans established a new form of government. So the idea was you would have the family, and then the family would elect, a tribe, and then a tribe, a council, and then a council senator. And then you eventually had you had a republican form of government, not republican like the elephant republican, but that families would elect legislators to govern what was for the best interest of the people. Now, Rome's political atmosphere pushed the Republic into a period of chaos and civil war, generally because people became decadent. And you had Sulla, and then the rise of the first dictator, Julius Caesar. So you had him rule alongside Mark Antony, and then basically Mark Antony died, and Octavian, who then became Caesar Augustus, ruled with an iron fist in the Pax Romana, but it was more of like a velvet hammer approach. But by that time, it was sort of like the Roman Republican experiment was dead. Similar to now, we have the American Empire. We don't really have representatives. We have an overexpanded executive, very similar to Imperial Rome. People think they're in charge. And what they would do is they would have bread and circuses. So, think of the gladiators, think of entertaining the masses. They would have to give pensions or monthly stipends to Roman soldiers after they retired so that they wouldn't revolt against the government. All kinds of things that we're kind of doing now. Think about, why do we have stadiums? Why are we giving billionaires billions of taxpayer-funded dollars to buy stadiums? Makes no sense. It's like a form of crony capitalism. So why is this so important? Everything wrong with the U.S. can be righted if we write. People always say, well, why do you talk about family? Why do you talk about God? Why do you talk about things that are not financially related, so to speak? It's because the death of the American family will lead to the death of the American economy. We need buyers. If you have an aging population, right? Then who do you have as your tax base? You have a shrinking tax base. So we need to encourage people like Alex to get married, have a lot of babies. We need to give tax breaks to people who are having babies, people running businesses. They shouldn't be hammered just so you can get your $200 a month bread and circus because you're a voter, but that's what's happening. they give these $200 a month, it's like an opiate to the people. Marx used to say religion was the opiate to the people. I actually think Social Security, these little stipends. Oh, you need this? We'll give you. Now, by the way, if you're a senior living on a fixed income, I feel very bad for you that the system has, failed you to where that's all you're living on. And hopefully with this show, if you're not there, you save 10 to 15% of your pay, because there will come a time where our system will not be sustainable. Now, for Rome, it took until 476 AD for it to completely break apart. 286 AD, the Roman Empire split into East and West. Sort of like us now. I could see, blue and red America. There is no e pluribus unum anymore. And there are things we can do as a country to reclaim our heritage. One is, value family. Two, encourage childbearing. We need to have an increasing tax base, but who am I, right? And Jordan Peterson and other people now sound hip. Do you watch Jordan Peterson? He's like big now online. I'm always seeing his things. And, he's talking about marriage. People should aspire to marriage and having children. You have a whole generation, by the way, the last 20 years. It's not what they aspire to. The hookup culture, let's screw around in our 20s and 30s and then try to have a baby at 40 real quick. And then what they find is it's harder to have a baby when you're 40 than when you're, 20 and 25. So the old school generation of faith, family, childbearing, it's good for the economy too. But that's what happened with Rome. The Roman family was replaced by Roman decadence. And, it was sort of like an institution. And remember, Cicero or Cicero, depends on how you say the Latin. Cicero would decry, he was a Roman emperor, he would decry what was happening with Rome. He knew the beginning of the end was upon them. But they couldn't do anything because Octavian, when he assumed the title of Augustus, although, in history, we were always said, oh, that was the Roman peace. Yeah, it was the Roman peace because the government was so big and strong. If you went against it, they would quash you. So similar to imperial United States. And our keys to renewal economically will be an increasing tax base by having more children. You might say, why do you have 7 kids? Is it because you want an increasing tax base? No, not at all. We just love kids and, let God do his thing. But the point is, and a lot of people can't have kids. And I feel bad for them. Kids are such a blessing. But we're taught, kids are a burden. And it's funny, people say, well, your kids are so well behaved. It must be you and your wife. And I hope that's the case. But I think a lot of it is when you have more kids, they're not selfish. They're not spoiled. Oh, where's my Nintendo Switch? Where's my, we're on a plane and, we see kids with people with 1 or 2 kids. Those kids are far less well behaved than our kids. And I liken it to sort of, they self-regulate. If my little one's being a little bratty, the other kids, they'll kind of pick on them, hold them in check. So it's an added little helper. So kids know what's bratty behavior and what's not when they have 7. They know when, little Johnny has to take a nap or when he needs a little food or when he's sleep deprived. So all that has to do with we are like Rome, increasing debt burdens. And then, okay, Social Security, $2,100 will give you $200 a month. will make you think that the U.S. is really going to survive this. Now, I've often thought, I'm not trying to say that we'll wake up tomorrow and the U.S. won't be there. What I'm saying is we'll slowly lose our influence in the world. The dollar will be slowly worth less, a little bit each year. So, folks, give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH, if you want the free retirement reality check. 888-988-JOSH, you'll get my free book when you schedule and keep your no-obligation review, 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-5674. We'll be back after these messages.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
Okay. How we're buying perfume could signal how we're feeling about the economy. This from CNN, kind of interesting. If you're coming across more mini rollerball perfume, you may unknowingly be getting a portal into the economic outlook. Demand for more budget-friendly roll-on perfumes is up 207% this year over last year, followed by a 183% jump in cheaper perfume samplers and a 30% increase in body mists. Are you using a body mist, Alex? Are you seeing this rise in rollerball perfume? No. Axe, the men's fragrance. I'm not seeing this, but apparently an e-commerce platform analyzing online products across categories on Amazon is reporting an increase in body mists. This indicates consumers are pulling back on spending despite more traditional economic indicators telling a much rosier story. Even during economic downturns, price-conscious shoppers don't completely abandon the purchase of a pick-me-up. High-end chocolate, perfume, expensive makeup makes you feel better. I don't know why perfume makes you feel better. I get a headache with cologne or perfume, but hey, this is called the lipstick effect. When consumers spend on small luxuries, even in a downturn. When you look at the economy, consumer confidence is a little shaken right now, and consumers are tightening their purse strings. But it's similar to the lipstick effect. He said perfume now seems emerging as a luxury item of choice for shoppers during a period of financial uncertainty. That is interesting. My mom and dad really never had money, but they always seemed to have perfume. Coincidence? I think not. Under Biden, U.S. oil production is poised to break Trump-era records. Critics accuse Biden of waging a war in the oil industry that's hurting consumers at the gas pump. And yet, on his watch, oil production is poised to shatter all-time records. That's largely, I think, due to re-election bid. U.S. oil output is now projected to rise to an average of 12.8 miles per day. It's interesting. Financial infidelity. Are you a victim of your spouse committing financial infidelity on you? I know it's a serious subject, but if you have a story of financial infidelity, we would love to hear it. No, this is not the Jerry Springer Show. This is the Financial Quarterback. But financial infidelity causes some of the problems that cheating does. By the way, this is why some of the wealthiest people I know from regular means, like if you're a woman, you've saved $1 million, $2 million, generally single females tend to not have this problem. So they tend to have more disposable income based on my kind of thought. In a relationship, financial infidelity causes some of the problems that cheating does. Anger, arguments, loss of trust, and in some cases, divorce. I know this is a difficult topic, but if you have a story of financial infidelity, remember one person we talked to, listener friend, found out like after 40 years of marriage, her husband had a gambling problem, was blew like untold amounts. And she got him into the financial quarterback, and we put him on a budget. We gave him an allowance, took away his credit cards, and God rest his soul. He's now, with the Lord, but guy got help. And I mean, I think his wife was about to whoop him. So we helped them stay together and help him not be a gambler. Agree as a couple on one small action step that moves you closer to shared goals based on your conversation about money. So if you and your spouse are far apart when it comes to money, let's say you're that spouse with a gambler spouse. If that person admits they're a problem and is willing to then have you manage their future checks by way of somebody like a financial advisor, it's a big step for that person. That's like an alcoholic giving you the keys to the liquor cabinet or saying, hey, we're going to get rid of all the liquor in the house. Even if you don't have a problem, if you live with an alcoholic, you probably shouldn't have any liquor in the house. Just a tip. So some people are not good with money. And you have to be, it's like the great Socrates. That's why you always go to history and philosophy to learn things. What did Socrates say? Know thyself. And this is firmly believed, why I believe they don't teach history and philosophy. Is because when you're a student, one of the things I studied greatly as a child and as a teenager and in college was philosophy and history. And it makes me a great financial advisor, I think, because it gives me perspective. There is nothing new under the sun, meaning, people who say, even different world philosophies like materialism. It was back with like the Greeks, the ancient Greeks. I mean, you could basically anything that you think about, people thought about it 2,000, 3,000 years ago. It's amazing when you study history and philosophy. And studying history prevents you from repeating it. Keeping store purchases secret. These are signs of financial infidelity. Keeping store purchases secret. Racking up debt without your spouse's knowledge. Or simply viewing money in starkly different ways can cause major friction. In fact, money, which many couples avoid talking about, is the number one issue married couples fight about. And money fights are the second leading cause of divorce behind infidelity. And I've met people who've gotten divorced when they've had both financial infidelity and regular infidelity. And they said this to me, met with a dear listener friend this year, was cheated on by her louse of a husband. And she said, you know what, I could forgive him for that. Which is, I don't know if I could, I couldn't. But I cannot forgive him for feeling that he is financially infidelity. What do we mean by that? You're working, you're slaving away, helping raise a family. And you found out that 50 grand that you saved was spent gambling on cryptos on Robinhood. How would that make you feel? Everything you worked hard for. You could go to marriage counseling. You could choose to forgive the one thing, but the other, you then, she said to me, hey, I'm divorcing this guy because I'll just never trust him with money. Now, according to Orion Advisor Solutions' recent couples and money survey, half of couples consider dishonesty about money a form of infidelity. 1 in 4 couples, 27%, say they have money-related disagreements at least monthly. And 32% say money is a stress in the relationship. There is this romantic ideal that money and love are separate, and that purity of something like love should never be tainted by money. According to Daniel Crosby, Chief Behavioral Officer at Ryan, I firmly agree that if you love someone, you should talk to them about money. You and your honey should be in on the money decisions. So if that's you, if you're a victim of financial infidelity, if you're married, and maybe money's a difficult subject for you to talk about, call us right now, 888-988-JOSH, for our Financial Infidelity Couples Challenge. Now, I think this will bring you closer together. Yeah, it might cause a few fights, but getting it out in the open will help you. You may need a psychotherapist. You may need a psychologist, a counselor for your emotional, spiritual, financial, psychological issues. But you also need a financial advisor who can bring you and your honey in on the money decisions. I've met people who they trusted a spouse. That trust could have been a CFO of a company, accountant, engineer type, handled everything. Then what if that man or woman who you trust with your money for your finances begins to slip because cognitively impaired? So it may not be financial infidelity. It just may be like you and your honey should be in the money decisions. So why does money make couples blood boil? I know a lot of thriving couples who come to see us together. We don't know how to talk about it, said Michael Learsh, a PhD in behavioral science. For most people, money was a taboo topic growing up. No one really has a framework to discuss it in a productive way. To complicate matters, people typically only talk about money when they are happy or really upset about it. And when people are angry about something, they typically keep it to themselves for a while, and the anger festers. I'm going to give you 5 reasons for financial infidelity. When we return, this is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinski this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the financial quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org. Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory. Or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the financial quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the financial quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
We are back taking your calls on All Matters Financial at 800-321-0710. We are live on Twitter Spaces. Follow me at Your Financial QB. We're also live on Clubhouse. Taking your calls on All Matters Financial. If you have a question on Clubhouse or Twitter, you can just raise your hand. If you want to call us at 800-321-0710, and we will take your calls live. Also, this show is also a podcast. I need everybody to subscribe to the podcast now on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever podcasts are heard. We really want to hear from you at 888-988-JOSH. So just to remind you, the show is also available as a podcast. To listen, search for The Financial Quarterback in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or Podbean, or wherever you get your podcast, Stitcher, out, play. That's The Financial Quarterback. Listen, follow, and write a review. So we talked about this Social Security 2100. Remember that the name of that bill reminds me of that. In the year 2000, it's in the year 2100. They will give seniors a $200 raise on their Social Security, yet take it away from them in other forms known as inflation. So all of this government spending is why you're having inflation. 5 reasons for financial infidelity. Like any argument, there are triggers that light the fuse and result in bickering over the Benjamins. There are 5 common triggers. Now, I want you to be honest here. What are your financial triggers with your spouse? Do you know? Give us a call. First, to set off problems or individual approaches to money. Conflict is bound to happen if spouses think about money in very different ways. That's often the case since we're all operating with money scripts that we inherited while growing up. And everyone's money experiences as a kid are different. Now, it's not just about one spouse being a spender and the other being a saver. And problems don't just stem from one partner having champagne tastes despite the family's beer budget. Money squabbles often stem from financial parenting conflicts. It can be about the display or flaunting of money, what money stands for, or even something as simple as allowing or making purchase one spouse doesn't agree with. And you see this in social media. You see ballers, people showing you their baller lifestyle. And you see the wife, very dressed up, the man in a Lamborghini or something. Do you know many of those are rented? And most of those people are just trying to live on borrowed money, jets, so that they can acquire, a million followers on TikTok or Instagram. That's not cool. Most millionaires that we deal with are thrifty. Sure, they spend money on some luxury items, but generally speaking, they don't flaunt it, and they're very thrifty. Many of them buy used cars and run them into the ground. But we have Randy who has questions about annuities. And then we'll talk more about dirty little secrets that couples have on money. Go ahead, Randy.
Yes, hi, Josh. I have a portfolio of 1.4. I had it in a variable annuity last year, which was in the market at 60-40. I'm going to be 63 pretty soon, so I kind of got like, I want to get out of it. It was guaranteed after the 10-year mark for the principal. So I took it out, and I took a little, somewhat of a penalty of about 15 on it, and I put it in 5 fixed annuities. To make this long story short, they all average 5.5, 5.4. So I'm at 5.3 with 5 of them at 7-year and 10-year. Did I make the right choice?
Whoa, that's quite a thing. Did you make? Well, you should have called me before buying the annuities. So no, you made the wrong choice. Generally, do I like variable annuities? Not really, unless you have a high income rider. Many variable annuities sold, I'd say since 2008, have what's called
the variable, and I'm in the fixed.
Have an income rider where you get a guaranteed income for life. I would call and get that audited. What are the fees you're paying? What's the income? Can you beat it right now with a fixed? We're seeing a lot of income off of variable annuities can be beaten by fixed. So fixed annuities and fixed index are looking better in this interest rate environment than variables. Doesn't mean you mean a bad decision. I would just get a second opinion on all of your annuities. I think right now is a good time to refresh and to look at all annuities as rates are higher. It is interesting, though, when we've done some of these studies, like you might have thought, someone might thought they got screwed, by buying an annuity 3 years ago when interest rates are near zero. But the payouts that we're seeing on some of the annuities that were bought 2-3 years ago are still superior than the annuities you could buy today. But I don't know. I say it all depends on the contract. It all depends on the company. So we do a free annuity due diligence for any of our listeners, Randy, and I welcome you to take us up on that at 888-988-JOSH. And I'll tell you, hey, you're getting a good deal. You know what I mean? And that's the other thing. If anybody tells you you have a bad annuity, have them put it in writing with an annuity due diligence. A lot of people go into these bad chicken dinner seminars and they're getting people and they're trying to sell them a new one because bonuses are higher right now. Like right now, I see bonuses like 12% for a 10-year commitment now. I saw one annuity this week, 19% bonus with an additional benefits rider fee. But what are you giving up in exchange for the new product? Does that make sense? So you got to look at, and we do an annuity due diligence where we call the company direct. We don't call your old agent. We get the fees, get the income payouts. And everybody's different with what you value. Some people might value liquidity. Some might value guaranteed income for life. I hope that helps, Randy. Any other questions for us?
Well, I kind of said the question wrong. I was in the variable. I'm in a fix now at 5.35.
It could be better. I would just have to see what you're in. That's all.
Okay.
I mean, the benefit of the fixed annuity is there's no internal fee and you know what you're going to get for the next 5-10 years, right? And
right.
5% for 5 years
Okay.
or 7 years is not bad, but could there be better products? I don't know. And some people, you made a decision within 30 days. There's something called the free look period. So if that's you and you're still within the free look period, call us at 888-988-JOSH. And then, hey, if you're stuck with the annuity and there's better options out there, you could always take 10% penalty-free withdrawals or 7% penalty-free withdrawals. Do something else with that annuity. Or turn on the income rider if you bought it, a few years ago, and do something else with the income for life. So there are so many features with annuities. You don't want to go it alone. We talked about IRAs a lot today. You don't want to go it alone with IRAs. Call us at 888-988-JOSH. That's 888-988-5674. If you call us within the next 3 minutes, I'll give you my free book, The Retirement Reality Check, as a thank you gift for scheduling. So now we're talking about financial infidelity. It's a big topic, so much so we're going to probably talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. Money squabbles often stems from financial parenting. One spouse doesn't agree with a big purchase. Indeed, a squabble over money could happen like this. A daughter asks one parent if she can buy a toy, but the answer is no. She asks the other parent to get it for her, and the other parent says, okay. Another example is a family walking down the boardwalk while on summer vacation. They walk into a store and one parent says, we're not buying anything in here. Learsh explained. And the other parent says, what's the big deal? And they argue in front of kids. I think every couple has had that fight. I mean, we used to have that a lot more. I think my wife has succumbed to my beliefs. And, generally, if we go away for a week, we will give the kids where we've kind of landed it on is even though the gift we will give went to Prince Edward Island a month ago on vacation, and I'm more chill about it. Sometimes one spouse, you got to chill out. I was the spouse, I had to chill out, just because we didn't have stuff as a kid, whatever. My wife, she really likes to give the kids a gift. So where we kind of landed is we'll do the ice cream on vacation, Go for ice cream, go for a little treat here or there. But where we've landed on is generally one dumb vacation gift, a vacation. So if Billy wants a little stuffed animal lobster with Prince Edward Island tattooed on it, he'll get it, but he's not going to get the second toy. So a lot of your financial parenting woes or money couple secret keep, my big tip is you and your honey should be in it on the money decisions. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jelensky Advisory Group. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and top of the $1 Million Roundtable, are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jelensky or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at jelensky.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jelensky and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature, is provided for informational purposes only, and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Investment advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback LLC.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York, an iHeart